Hey, soldiers, as the banks are called into question and people feel more and more sketchy about the traditional banking system, we've got one of the major tech companies out with its own high yield savings account. Does this signal these high value tech companies getting into traditional finance, offering consumers greater choice that may be stronger in terms of the financial backing? We're going to get into all of it. First, I want to thank one of the soldiers for bringing this to my attention. This just happened today, and she was kind enough to send me a note. Thank you so much. Soldiers, always on reconnaissance. Feel free to do that. We got another soldier, Melissa, who brought to my attention some things that we'll be covering here shortly. Go ahead and subscribe. Hit subscribe, enlist, become a soldier of finance. Let me know you did so in the comments, and I will salute you. I salute all of the soldiers of finance throughout the world, wherever you may be. Now, even if you are not on the planet, but you're watching this, maybe in the space station or Mars even, or Zeta Reticuli, I don't care, hit thumbs up. Let the YouTube algorithm know that you find this content valuable and that you think that these financial issues we cover should be perpetuated throughout the YouTube community. All right, so go ahead, do me that favor and just hit that thumbs up. It'll take you all of a millisecond. All right, so we've got Apple jumping into the high yield savings account fray, and they're coming in strong with one hell of a product. Now, Apple, you say, well, Apple does have some financial products that are out there as we speak. So they are coming at it a little bit stronger and offering more choice to consumers. Now, why would you want a high yield savings account? Because you probably remember me saying, hey, don't keep too much money in the bank. And I maintain that. And the reason why I maintain that is because bank savings accounts are anemic in terms of the return on your investment, the interest that is paid. So putting your money in a bank savings account is pretty much putting a lot of it in there as a losing proposition. Think about this. What's that? Roku. They had $500 million in an account over at SVB Bank. Okay. I know. Insane. And look, even if they gave them 5%, let's say they gave them 10, they were still just treading water in terms of inflation. And I don't think they were even getting that much. Okay. Because SVB, they had trouble keeping its doors open. I'm sure they weren't out there offering high yield savings accounts on $500 million. All right. So you've got the high yield savings accounts, which allow you to put a certain amount of money. I usually, for my purposes, 3 months of expenses. Why 3 months? Because I don't have to worry about this anymore. When I was working, I always faced the possibility of layoff. And I wanted to give myself some cushion so that I had time to find another job. A lot of people are in that position without falling behind and having to rely on credit. Okay. Because if you start relying on credit, listen, once those interest payments start to accrue, then whatever you bought on that credit card is going to become more expensive. Okay. So you don't want to have to do that. So the high yield savings account, it does narrow the gap between your return and inflation. Okay. So your money is doing a little something. I mean, it's not knocking it out of the park, but hey, your money's accessible. Okay. And this gives you the ability to go ahead, if you place an expense on your credit card, to go ahead and address it before the expiration of the 30-day cycle and the start of interest payments. Okay. So that's the purpose of a savings account, a high yield savings account. And we got Apple out there saying that they're going to go ahead and start this. They have started it today, the 18th of, it was already midway through April. Wow. All right. So let's just take a comparison of the financial heft of Apple compared with the largest bank here in America. Now, the largest bank in America is J.P. Morgan, largest bank by assets. They have a market capitalization of $414.5 billion. Okay, so close to a $500 billion of market capitalization. That's really, really good, especially when you look at and compare it to other banks like, let's see, Goldman Sachs is 111 billion. Okay, still, respectable. But it is nowhere near the market capitalization of a company like Apple. Apple's market cap is $2.63 trillion. You talk about financial strength. My God in heaven. All right. So, in addition to that type of wherewithal, these accounts are also backed by the FDIC. So, you got a lot of protection there for your hard-earned money. Apple makes Apple makes iPhone home for savings accounts. Okay. So, and this is another, I'm an Apple shareholder. Okay. My wife is sold on their products. I'm an Android PC guy. Okay. But I recognize the strength of Apple. And this is the type of thing I like about Apple from an investment standpoint. Their ecosphere. Once they get you in that web, man, it's hard to get out. Okay. Once they get you in, you're like Pookie on New Jack City. I don't know if you remember him from the movie New Jack City, but he was addicted. And once Apple's got you, man, it's hard to get away. It's impossible for many to get away from Apple. And I like that from the standpoint of an investor. This savings account is just another part of that web that's going to make that product even more adhesive to the customer. Apple credit card holders, now like I said, they're already in finance to a degree. Their credit card holders can open an account from their iPhone. Apple joined the competition for bank deposits on Monday with the launch of a high-yield savings account that pays an annual percentage yield of 4.15%. All right, so 4.15%. Let's do the math on that and just see how hard the money is working. How long will it take this money to double? All right, so 17 years, it would take it to double. That's a hell of a lot shorter period of time than it would take the savings account over at Wells Fargo, which wasn't even offering a whole percentage point. Okay, so you were well into your 100th year of life before your money doubled. And again, we're not looking for this money to really make money. We're just looking at it to have a smaller bite from inflation and to be there liquid in case we need to address an emergency or seize an opportunity. Okay, like a nice piece of real estate you might want to purchase that produces income or can produce food. All right, so they're offering their percentage yield at 4.15%. The high yield savings account available in conjunction with Apple's credit card are one of the tech company's latest steps into financial services, which also include an option to allow customers to buy now, pay later on certain of its hardware products. Now, I'm not generally a fan of that concept, but hey, it's offered. And many people may strategize. For example, let's say you got a hot idea for a YouTube channel, okay? And you think this can make money, and let's say you're right about that. But what's stopping you from getting started is, some of the equipment. Well, this option from Apple may help you. So I'm not going to totally knock that. But I will say just be careful about acquiring liabilities that depreciate as opposed to assets that appreciate and provide income. Now, here's the thing. Apple partnered with Goldman Sachs to offer consumers these options. Now, that's key because it looks like we got a bank saying, hey, let's get with one of these big, well-heeled tech companies, combine forces, and throw something out there for the consumer where we can just basically expand that money on deposit that we use to go and invest in things, okay, in various things. In the case of Goldman Sachs, they do a lot of investing as opposed to the traditional banking model when you used to get the deposits in so you can loan them out. It's kind of what got SVB in trouble. The company, as I said, partnered with Goldman Sachs. Part of Apple's effort, this whole thing is part of Apple's effort to transform the iPhone into a digital wallet that can help keep customers linked to the software ecosystem behind its devices. It's also A move by Apple to diversify. Right now, when I think of Apple, I think of the iPhone, I think of the Mac, but in order for the company to continue its success, it's going to have to reach out and, again, make their suite of services much more adhesive because it's got more in it that you rely on every day. The savings accounts require no minimum deposit and are protected by the FDIC, or Federal Deposit Insurance Company, to a maximum of $250,000. That's the standard. Apple Pay is a dominant competitor in digital payments, but Apple has more competition when it comes to savings accounts. Money can't be spent directly from the Apple savings account, but would first need to be transferred to a checking account or Apple Cash. Though the 4.15% rate is higher than that of a standard savings account, a handful of online banks offer rates as high as 5%. All right. So would that matter to the Apple saver here? I don't think it would, because, again, this is going to be coupled with other Apple finance capabilities. Okay. So I think people would be willing to sacrifice, the 0.85% in order to, again, have this incorporated into the product suite that they already own. Popular high-yield savings products from Ally Bank and Goldman Sachs's Marcus. We've profiled Marcus and gave you a honest review of that service here on the channel. They offer lower rates than Apple. So Marcus actually offers 3.9%. And you get a little bit better with Apple at 4.1%. 4.15%, even though it's backed up by Goldman Sachs. The favorable rate, combined with Apple's existing brand recognition, could be especially attractive to new customers. Okay, so they're trying to bring in new customers, given concerns about the stability of the banking industry after the collapse of SVB. And also Signature as well. This is according to Yiming Ma, assistant professor of finance at Columbia University. Yiming Ma says, I think what is special in this case is Apple is Apple. Everyone knows what Apple is, and many people already have an Apple card. Apple has also worked with certain states in the U.S. to create legal digital versions of driver's license. Revenue from these products is reported in the company's services unit, which also includes sales from the App Store commissions for gaming and music software. Services revenue was $78 billion in the fiscal year that ended September. This was up 14% from the previous year. So looks like Apple is, bolstering that services unit, and that's going to bode well for their bottom line. And that's music to my ears, because I said I invest in Apple. So keep buying the products, guys, all you Apple devotees out there. Now, in typical Apple fashion, you're going to need to have another Apple product to use Apple savings. So just like you can't go out there and get the full capability out of an Apple Watch without other Apple products, this particular Apple savings account is going to have a prerequisite, which is the Apple card. Okay. So again, that's the caveat here, but we'll watch it and see what they, do with this service and how well it works for them. Apple's a pretty successful company and got a lot of hits out there, and they have for quite some time. So I'm sure this will definitely be attractive to their clientele. Now, what I want you to do is go and take a look at this video. The following video is going to walk you through something that I believe is very disturbing, and it's the fact that the United States of America is broke. All right, we're literally broke. We are spending much more money than we as a nation are taking in terms of tax revenues. Okay, or revenues from the purchase of treasuries. We are broke. And that's going to have some devastating consequences for the overall economy. But we want you to know about it so that you can steer clear and build your ark before it starts raining. Check out that video. Guys, I'll talk to you soon.